For Joe Biden in 2021, first stop in his astrological parade is the Saturn cycle, since this planet, more than any other, tends to point to where what is most practically important is taking place. You can see that pretty much the whole year it is either opposing natal Pluto or squaring natal Mars. His struggle with the COVID pandemic is an obvious correlation, since Pluto is co-ruler of the 12th and Mars itself is a tenant of the 12th. The 6-12 axis represents the health polarity. In the 6th you might get sick, in the 12th really sick, enough so as to find yourself in the hospital. Also, the 12th is a better determinant of widespread social sickness than the 6th, and COVID is something that is affecting nearly everyone in some way, and certainly those that have actually caught it. Pluto's natal house location, the 9th, points to a key meaning of that house, international affairs, which are therefore likely to show up as an issue fairly soon, since that's the first planet Saturn challenges. If not, then later in the year, especially late summer and into fall, when Saturn will station directly square Pluto. Meanwhile, Mars co-rules 12, but also rules 5, and one wonders if children issues will show up as well. Upon saying that, one immediately thinks of his own children, as in Hunter Biden, and where that might go, but it could just as easily be a resurfacing of the argument about immigration, children in cages, and the bulk of that policy that Trump and Stephen Miller had cooked up. The reason is Pluto itself is in the 9th house, a house that relates to immigration issues, and in this chart it is connected to Mars. We also have to keep in mind that Biden's natal Saturn is in the 7th house, a house that describes both your partners as well as your open enemies. So on the one hand, we have Joe's goal to repair relationships with allies, the ones that Trump badly damaged in recent years, and perhaps the struggles Joe will go through as he tries to work his way through that. Also, it would be naive to think he won't get opposition from those trying to stop his agenda, namely the other side, the Republicans, and this fits the open enemies meaning of a natal 7th sign Saturn in 2021 challenging transits. And since Saturn rules his 2nd house, I'm betting money issues will surface, and I doubt they'll be his own bank account. Rather, look for the Republican hypocrisy, whereby they always spend like drunken sailors when they're in power, but as soon as they're in the opposition, they cry about deficits and too much spending. Saturn is transiting through the 3rd and co-rules the 3rd. This could easily be the infrastructure project that has been mentioned, and therefore Joe's focus on making it happen. The 3rd is the best house to describe a country's system of roads and bridges, and it is interesting to note that the US chart also has Aquarius in this house, and therefore Saturn is transiting through here as well. The other thing about Aquarius is the connection to science. Joe has already stated his full commitment to follow science instead of the head in the sand approach of the previous administration. And this 3rd house transit, with Aquarius as the sign, connects to the social media controversies of these past years and the need to establish reasonable rules and regulations. This is a very contentious area the Biden administration will probably have to jump into as well. Bottom line, Saturn presages a very busy year with lots of hard work and at times thorny challenges. This is not unusual. In fact, one would almost expect it when it's the chart of a US president, and more so in this case, when we already know Joe is dealing with the incredible mess Trump has left him. And perhaps the greatest danger, and his most important challenge, could be to make sure he himself doesn't get sick, since the 12th house is, of course, first and foremost, also related to his own health.